So, I thought I'd do this quick video for you on a Friday because tomorrow we have the World Cup in Meydan. Or not in Meydan, Meydan is the location and venue. It's in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. And typically I don't highlight these sort of races to you. The meetings at Meydan started in January on a Thursday, and they've been repeated every Thursday up until now, but we're about to reach the pinnacle of that particular series of races, and it's the $10 million World Cup. And it's a big race. There's a lot of interest and activity around there, and typically it turns over about £1 million in matched bet volume. Last year it did 1.2 million, and that was because there was a huge gamble on postponed. It started at 275, if I remember correctly. I shall bring up the chart from my archives, and it went off at evens. I definitely remember that. And that was a spectacular trade, and it did about 1.2 million, but prior years have consistently done about £1 million. Now this year we've got Arrowgate, who you've probably never heard of, but this horse will be going off around 140-ish, I should imagine. Maybe a little bit shorter come the actual race itself, and that's going to generate quite a bit of liquidity. So it's definitely something you should have a look at tomorrow, and it's a little bit out of the ordinary. And now and again I'll trade Meydan on the Thursday, but I will always trade this particular meeting tomorrow. And sometimes it's a little bit later and it clashes with the Lincoln at Doncaster. This year it's separated, so that will help it. The only thing that's a negative is it seems like the first race, looking at the card a second ago, is at 11:45, and that the World Cup is at 4:45, which is a bit of a pain, to be honest, because at 4:45 I'm still in the back end of the UK racing, and football's about to end as well, so it's not conveniently timed this year. So I don't know if that's going to affect liquidity or not. You would sort of suspect that it may do, but I've a fairly open mind on it. Whatever, I'm going to dump a few of the UK races and focus on the World Cup and see what I can do from there. I first traded this back in 2008 when it was at Nad Al Sheba, which was the venue before Meydan came into being. And Meydan, if you don't know, is spectacular. There was a documentary you could probably find on YouTube about the racecourse. Very insightful, very interesting. And it's one of the racecourses that I really want to go to at some point, preferably when the World Cup is on. So I think that's one of the things on the bucket list, one of the racecourses I was going to go and see at some point, and go and do a few other things while I'm in that part of the world. But the interesting thing about this race is it is a prestigious race, and most of the races are big group races on this particular day as well. Some of the early races may not work because a lot of people may not know that they're going on, etc. And but as we move through the card, there should be a bit of attention to it. The only doubt I've got is because of the timing, 4:45. In previous years it's been at like 6:30, which is absolutely perfect because I can spend a lot of time and attention on it. This year I'm going to have to try and throw it into the mix of other things, and you may also have to do that as well. But I've pulled in some pretty good results from over the year. Nothing tops what I did a few years ago. I've never been able to reach those heights, but sometimes, you know, things just line up perfectly and you can execute perfectly on them as well. But generally I get a 3-figure result out of this race each year. And I thought you may not be aware of it, or you may not have seen much press about it in the UK. If you're into racing you probably know about it, but outside of that you may not be aware. So keep your eyes out for it tomorrow. The turnover should be somewhere in the region of £1 million plus, especially because it's at a shorter price. The racing during the day should provide a few opportunities as well. So if you've never traded overseas racing before, probably got an opportunity tomorrow, and hopefully it should trade pretty well. If you keep your eye on Twitter or on the forum, I will give you an update as to what I think of it so far. The races in between all of the big races in the UK may be a bit of a problem. I'll probably try and trade both of them if I can, one way or another. But I'll, post to the forum and we'll have a look at things and see how things are progressing from there. But it usually presents an opportunity. I'm going to go for it tomorrow, and I suggest you have a look at it too.